Hi guys, and welcome to another The Beginner Experience video. Today we will talk about characters. Characters have three kinds of, let's say, leveling aspect. The first one is the bare level. As you may see, my Batman Beyond, which is this month hero, has a level 60. A level is given up by using these orbs here. You need to spend your green essence to use those orbs, and increasing the level will increase his power level. But you have to consider that's not the most important part of a character toolkit. The most important part in a character toolkit is indeed the gear. Here you can see that the battle rank that Batman uses needs some gear in three tier of level 1, level 2, level 3 of three different type. And if you compare one level 1 guys, this, you will need, as you may expect, more and more as you level them up. So you will need a couple at level 1, and then you will need, let's say, the double of those at level 2. Let me find some level 2 guys. I think that she's level 0. So at level 0 you need a couple. At level 1 you will need 4. And at level 2 you will need 4 of that type, 6 of the type, and 4 of the successive level. So going on and on, you will need more and more piece of gear just to be able to get to the next level until you can no longer level up. The gear defines the tier level of a character, and it's commonly known as G and the number. This character can be considered a gear 2, so G2 guys, while this one is a gear 1 or G1, and let's say another one is gear 0, gear 5, and whatever. So every piece of gear will allow your character to get more of a specific stats. The stats are speed, stamina, intelligence, HP, and so on. I will go deeply in a moment. And every piece of gear will give you more stats into a specific one. So this gear will give him speed, HP, intelligence, stamina, and special damage, while, let's say, this one will give defense, stamina, intellect, and HP instead. So that was more of a, let's say, an attack one, while this one giving you defense, stamina, and HP is more of a defensive one. And this one is, let's say, another attack one, because you will have only maybe mixed one, because it's chemo, but you get the gist of it. And every time you apply one piece of gear on a character, you will get your power level increased. Your power level will be modified, as you may notice from this sheet, by the standard value he will get at a random level and the one given by the gear. So, as I said before, the level is not that important until it provides you some way to multiply the gear that you apply. And you may notice that you need a character to be at such level, let's say 30, to be able to increase his gear from 5 to 6, and so on. So that's the second part of a character that defines him. The third part is the rank. The rank can be it's the number of stars that a character has. My chemo, as you can see, has 5 yellow stars, which is the normal ranks, and 2 purple ones, which are the legendary ones. And you may spend normal green essence to rank up those yellow one, and the legendary essence to rank up the legendary one. It's easier to understand. And the number of rank defines which skill he is allowed to use. Every character will usually start with a couple of skills, depending on the character, and as much as they grow up in a number of stars, they will be able to use all those skills. When you get to the legendary level, you get to choose a special effect. As you may see here, if I choose this one, I will have a cooldown reduced by 1 on the Fallout skill. If I get this one, I will apply an agility down every time someone attacks me, my chemo, and gets a bleed, and so on. So the very important part of your character is to get to the level where you will use his kit for what it's worth. For example, if you are going to use your Steppenwolf because you want his team leader, you need him at rank 5 at least to be able to use it. If you want him to use him as a normal character, let's say not in a leadership position, you may you may choose to use him at rank 4, for example. This is obviously not for the guys that have him at legendary 5 levels. They probably don't need this kind of, let's say, introduction or tutorial. But for the general guy that just started the game and want to get, let's say, a deeper insight on the game, I think that this can be useful. So, as I was saying, rank 1 to 5 will unlock you more skill. Usually, the last one, the leadership ability, is unlocked at rank 5, this one at rank 4, this one at rank 3, and so on. And legendary levels, you will get 1 point for each star of legendary power you have. So a legendary 1 character will have just 1 point to allocate in this upgrade part. Legendary 5 will have obviously 5 points. But you have to consider that you may not want to apply all those points. For example, Superman here. I have him at L5 max rank. I have legendary 5, so I could use all his legendary focus skill, but in the way I use my own Superman, I don't want him to be able to get that turn meter up when he's taunting, because, you know, if you are the one that will withstand the punches from your opponents and you will have 1 turn taunt, if you go faster, the taunt lasts less, so you will protect less your teammates. So even though I have my Superman at L5, I'm not gonna click on this skill. To make this wider, there are some characters that just benefit from a bunch of legendary points. For example, Martian Manhunter, it's pretty good when you have 3 of his points allocated. The other 2 are just gravy. I'm not saying that they are worthwhile or not worthwhile. I'm saying that it just works amazingly well at, let's say, legendary 1 or 2, and you may want to have him at legendary 3. You don't care to have him at legendary 5 unless you are a big whale that can spend a lot of money on the game, or you are lucky to find, let's say, your cheetah in your nodes, and thus you have so many points that you can get her to L5. But sometimes you may end up not using that skill. It's the case of my Swan Thing. My Swan Thing is L4, and I can bring him to L5. But even though this skill is pretty useful because he will apply overheal to your team, in my experience, I never used this skill, so there's no point in investing rings here. I will go there in a second. And legendary points and essences to get him to a level that you don't need him. So, the last part I was talking about of a character which is not about his, let's say, stats or its skills, let's go back to Batman, is the rings. One ring allows you to upgrade the skills. As you may see, when you upgrade a skill, it does more damage or, let's say, other effect. In this case, we have Batman Beyond that is allowed to apply some hit chance down. And you may want to be, let's say, greedy on the upgrades. Why I say greedy? Because you want the rings are scarce, to say the least. I'm playing since a lot of time, and as you may see, Warner Bros. Just did give me 500 of those rings, which are not used at all. And the one that I use the most are the blue and the greens. And I am lacking them. Even though I have so many good characters, I'm not in a position to level them up at all. Because, you can't. So, I will use DOJ because it's clearly understandable what threshold means. But, you are at a scarcity of rings, and you want to get the best of what you can from a character. So, let's say you are powering up this Fearless Leader skill. You may want to stop at level 5 because that's where she will change from copy 1 buff to copy 2. The additional damage is nice to have, but it will cost you so much in resources that you may need to go slower on that. As you may notice, this one I'm not even leveled them up because, as I said, the resources are so scarce that you may have to apply some restraint in upgrading, and some characters don't even need those skills up because this Clayface, this ability provides you nothing, because when he has a huge health pool like 36k health pool, the increase in the health of 10% won't change the outcome. You just want him to rest. So applying point here, it's a no-brainer. You don't need to apply point here. And again, you may want to silence your attackers. So applying point here, maybe it's something that you want to do. I just don't use him and I don't have the ring, so we are not talking about my own Clayface. But there are some skills that are more worthwhile to upgrade. This one, level 9 agility up, is the best thing that Clayface provides. 2 turns of 10 agility up is something huge. So you want to get to that threshold. In the other case, I don't care about the, Mudslide can apply at level 6 because I want to apply 2 speed down. But because it's not what I use Clayface for, which is the soaking of damage and the taunting and the appliance of invisibility to my own team, you may use some caution when applying the rings, because they are scarce and you may not have all of them to gear up your heroes. So, let's recap it all. A hero is composed by his gear that will increase his stats, and the pieces of gear are, let's say, specialized. And usually the most important one are the one providing speed. As you may see, this one provides speed and this is not providing any speed. So you want to, if you have limited resources, you want to increase the one giving you the speed, so you will get the chance to use your character under geared. And then you want to increase the one that fulfill its kit. So if it's a tank, you want maybe to increase its health or agility. If it's a damage dealer, you want to increase the one giving him, like this, is damage source, which is power damage, intellect, crit chance, and crit value. This is a pure damage dealing piece of gear. So you may choose which one to apply first. The second part of an hero is the level. A level is required to apply the gear because, as you may see, I cannot apply the gear 11 until I am level 17, 70. And you may need the orbs to upgrade that level. The third part is the star, that may be normal star, the yellow one, or legendary one. I think that I have just a couple of normal one guys, which are here. As you may see, my bad boy skill on him requires him to be at rank 5 to be used and unlocked. So until I find more shard for him, this guy is an R4 rank 4 character that is allowed to use only his 3 skill, and so is a normal 4-star guy, while this one is a 5-star and 2 legendary, which is called just legendary 2, because it's required to have 5 to go to legendary level. And the last part of the kit is the skills. As I said before, if you are in a scarcity of resources, you may want to use caution when upgrading. So maybe here you will stop at level 7, here you will go up to whatever, and here you may be wanting to stop at level 5. Obviously, you want to have them all eventually at full skill, full gear, full whatever. Let's say, if you look at this, he is not skilled fully because I didn't have the resources. But if you check, let's say my, I don't know, Superman, he is fully skilled beside the one that I talked before. And yeah, if you check Etrigan, he is fully skilled beside this one that increases his chance just by a 3%, which is not worth the 8th ring I'm saving. I can use on another guys. So, because the green ring and the blue ring and the death and life ring, which are used for the villains or the hero one, are so scarce, you may want to not use them if they don't provide you anything useful. And that's it. So, gear, level, skills, and star. And the stats that are increased by the gear get a multiplier based on the level. There's a formula you can find on the wiki about this game, but it's tedious and no one really cares about it. The gist of it is that the higher is the level, the greater is the multiplier that it's applied to your gear. So let's say a level 1 gear 10, it's not possible. We'll have, let's take the stamina and HP. We'll have, let's say, 2000 hit point. The same gear 10 at level 60 will have 20k hit points. At level 70 we'll have 25k hit points, and so on. So it scales up. You may want everyone at a higher level, but resources are what they are limited, and it's part of the grind. So every character has a kit. There are characters that are more suitable to a tanky one. Let's say Superman, as you can see, he has high stamina, high HP, or other guys that are in a similar role because they are tanky. But as you may see here, she is more of a brawler because she has higher strength, higher agility, and lower HP, hit point, and stamina. Or there are the pure tanks like Clayface, which have even higher HP compared to Superman, because the gear scales more with that. So, all in all, gear is the most important part because it will increase your stats. Then it's the level, because it forces your gear to a point where you cannot upgrade your gear if you are not to a level. And then it's skill and by because it will influence your skill, the legendary level or normal rank. And that's it. It's pretty easy, pretty um, simple to understand. Just increase your gear first, then your level, and then go on with the skills. Level usually there are threshold for the gear based on your, let's say, current level in the game. If you are a top player, you're probably going to have your character at gear 11 and level 17. If you are, let's say, top 1500 or such, you may have them at level 60 and gear 10, and so on. The more you go lower on the PvP ladder, and the more is easier for you to be on a lower gear level than the one required maybe for the competition. But you may find, like at the moment, I'm in top 1500 and I'm, let's say, a full gear 11 guy. So that's not always true that all the gear 11 are in top 100 or whatnot. It just how the game works. I'm here at 145 and still I'm able to be matchmaked into fighting other, let's say, lower guys. So that's it. You will find a lot of acronym online like 60 G10 or 70 G11 or 45 G8, and that means the level and the gear level. So level 45 gear 8 or level 70 gear 11. The gear, and this is the last thing, as I said before, it increases your power level, and you may want to have a, let's say, balanced roster because your power level will directly influence your red alert, meaning that if you have just one guy at gear 11 and all the rest of your team is gear 2, you will get destroyed into red alert because it will get let's say tuned on those high power guys that you have. So I suggest you to upgrade your roster in a balanced way. So get your guys, let's say at first all to level 45 gear 8, then increase to gear 9, then let's say 50 gear 9, then 60 gear 10, and then whatever 70 gear 11, 80 gear 11, and let's wait for the next gear next year hopefully. It's not something that I really want because gear 11 is just so a grind to have, but we all know that we will get there. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed. I will go into the gear farming and ring farming in the next episode. Hope you see you soon. Have a nice day.